I vividly recall the casual touch of his fingers against mine, though we both understood it was no mere accident. At age 51, I stood perilously close to temptation, a dangerous liaison with my son's coach, who was barely 30. It was irrational for me to entertain such proximity. Yet when life loses its vibrancy and turns monochrome, an unforeseen spark can ignite the whole spectacle. It began innocently enough, a post-practice thank you, a flirtatious gesture to remind me I was alive. However, late-night discussions escalated into personal confessions. Feeling overwhelmed by emotions I tried to suppress, I was a mother first, or so I convinced myself, until the fateful night I breached that trust. Ever since, I have carried the burden of self-reproach, as that was the night I let it happen. And I never disclosed this to my son. As I proceed with my story, I would like to express my gratitude to you. If you subscribe to this channel, know that your support means more to me than words can convey. To all new and returning viewers yet unsubscribed, thank you for joining us. I eagerly await your click on that subscribe button, as your support is what keeps this channel running. If this tale resonates with you or stirs contemplation, share your thoughts in the comments below. I read each one carefully. Now let's rewind to the beginning. My name is Phyllis and I reside in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I am a single mother of a 17-year-old boy named Louis. Over the past 6 years, I have not pursued any serious relationships, not out of incapacity, but due to losing my sense of womanhood amidst parenting and financial obligations. Then entered Coach Ross, hired at the start of my son's final year to train the high school basketball team. Youthful, determined, and utterly dedicated, Ross possessed a strong jawline and an unassuming self-assurance that didn't demand attention yet attracted it. The boys admired him, as did the mothers. We observed. Initially, it was merely a nod, a thank you following lengthy practices. However, Ross began lingering when I collected Louis. He would comment, "You don't appear old enough to have a 17-year-old. Or, I can see where Louis gets his determination." I dismissed these comments as mere compliments. I convinced myself they were friendly gestures from the coach of my star player. But then I began arriving early. I started applying lip gloss and styling my hair. Not for him, I told myself, just to feel good. One Thursday evening, Louis remained after additional drills. It was only Ross and I standing near the bleachers. The gym was empty save for the sound of bouncing balls and the aroma of sweat and floor cleaner. I mentioned my pride in Louis, and Ross touched my arm. Not a prolonged touch, not a grip. A mere brush. Yet I chose not to retreat. My heart leapt, not the adolescent girl type of flutter. It was a harsher leap, signifying danger and longing intertwined. A handshake with peril had just occurred. That evening, as I navigated home, my palm still pulsed where Ross had touched it. Memory serves me of sitting in my driveway, gazing at the porch light as if it held a cosmic message. At 51, I was a mother. Yet, I found myself contemplating thoughts unsuitable for a woman of my stature. A 6-year void of affection and recognition had left its mark, and now this young man, my son's coach, had made me visible once more with his gaze. In the following practices, I kept my distance, remained in my vehicle, and evaded eye contact. However, Ross discerned my actions. On one occasion after practice he approached my window, tapped gently, and peered in. Had I transgressed? His voice was hushed, his eyes probing. I feigned a chuckle and responded, "Absolutely not, merely occupied." Yet, I was far from occupied. I was petrified. Nonetheless, I found myself yearning for his notice. Ross initiated text conversations regarding Louis' advancements. Subsequently, the messages became more intimate. He expressed admiration for how I single-handedly nurtured Louis. He mentioned that he could communicate with me effortlessly compared to women his age. This made me feel valued, recognized, coveted. And insidiously, I responded quicker. I prolonged discussions and beamed broader when his name illuminated my phone, until one night he proposed coffee. I should have declined. I should have blocked his number, reported him, or reminded him of my status as Louis' mother. But I agreed. We convened at a secluded location near the square, detached from the school populace. We conversed for an hour which expanded into 3. We exchanged views on literature, life, disillusionments, and fractured marriages. In response to me expressing that I'd been strolling through life for the past decade like a sleepwalker, he extended his hand across the table and held it. "I find you extraordinary," he remarked, and I chose not to withdraw. That night marked the start of my undoing. We didn't breach any physical boundaries that evening, but emotionally, I had ventured into a place from which I couldn't retreat. I started deceiving Lewis. I told him I was taking walks when I was actually meeting Ross in his car. I informed my sister I was volunteering when I was really parked outside the gym, waiting for him. I convinced myself I could stop anytime, that I had control. But I didn't. I was ensnared by the way he made me feel, alive, youthful, desired. One Friday night, Lewis completed work early and texted me to pick him up. However, I didn't receive his message. Instead, I was concealed behind the bleachers, engaged in a conversation with Ross, spending too much time there. He said something amusing, and I laughed. I reached out and touched his shoulder, but as I did so, Lewis appeared in the corner of my eye. Standing beside the twin doors, clutching his gym bag, he stared at me, our gazes locked. His complexion was ashen, and then he vanished, much like a slamming door echoing in my heart. For 3 days, Lewis avoided me, not uttering a single word. Upon returning from school, he retreated to his room, locking the door behind him, and blasting music so loud it shook the corridor. I rapped, pleaded, even placed his favorite meal by the door, but all attempts were futile. On the 4th day, Lewis strolled into the kitchen as I was cleaning dishes. I turned expectantly, yet the expression in his eyes, it wasn't sorrow. It was betrayal. "You deceived me," he stated bluntly. My hands trembled beneath the running water. I shut off the tap and faced him. "I never intended for this predicament, Lewis. Do you truly believe that makes a difference?" He retorted harshly. "He is my coach, Mom. Do you comprehend the damage you've caused?" I made no effort to justify myself, as deep within, I understood fully what I had done. I momentarily merged who I was with who I aspired to be. My solitude led me to decisions my heart would later rue. "I ended it," I murmured. "When?" His response was swift. "Yesterday." It was true. After witnessing Lewis' expression in the gym, I realized I could no longer confront him if I persisted. I met Ross one last time and told him it was over. He was hurt, bewildered, even enraged. Yet he did not contest. He recognized the boundary had been breached. That night, I lay awake hearing Lewis' footsteps in his room. I knew I had shattered something between us. Something that needed time to mend. Days morphed into weeks. He ceased inviting me to his games. I stopped reminding him. A chasm developed between us, more painful than any silence. But then one afternoon, I returned home to discover a note on the kitchen counter. "I will never comprehend why you acted, but I still adore you, Lewis." I held that note for a long time. I wept as a child would. Not because my troubles had ended, but because my son bestowed upon me something I couldn't grant myself, grace. I share this tale not out of pride, but to underline the reality of emotional starvation. If left unaddressed, it will manifest in ways that are often detrimental. Ross reawakened within me the knowledge that I still possessed a heart, while Lewis reminded me for whom it beats. To every woman watching this who feels overlooked, undervalued, or discarded, seek validation not in hidden places. It might seem like mending, but more often than not, it becomes another scar. Thank you for lending your ears to my narrative. If it resonated with you in any manner, please express your thoughts in the comments. Like this video, share it with someone who may require its message, and remember to subscribe to the channel. Your backing is truly invaluable because sometimes, truth-telling is our only means of recovery.